Hi there. So today I have a special video for you. It's actually a group session that was recorded in April of 2020. So that's 3 years ago already, which is shocking. And this session has never been seen before. It was a group session, so only the participants that were there at the time got the information that was in this session. It's never been transcribed, it's never been edited, it's never been presented on YouTube. So you guys are the first to see this content in 3 years. And yes, I know it's ridiculous that I have this amount of backlog of content, but I wanted to let you guys see what a group session works like, what it looks like, what it feels like, and hope that you guys will be inspired to join us next week, or in a few days actually only, on April 12th and 13th for 2 group sessions, which are the first that I've done literally in years. So do sign up for those sessions in this link and the link that you find in the description of this video. And I hope that you enjoy this session, you enjoy some retro Vagrein channeling, and that you do let me know what you think about it. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'll see you at the end of the transmission. Good evening to you. It has been quite an adventure since the last time we spoke. And we have come to check in with you to check how you are feeling during your stepping into of what you believe to be an unexpected turn of events. We spoke and speak often of choosing, often of how your collective works, how reality works, how choosing on a collective level is potent, and how you are mostly unaware of what you are choosing, mostly believing the thoughts that arrive in your vicinity to be your own. We see that there are levels of discomfort. For you, this is obvious. It is obvious that it is uncomfortable. What is less obvious, perhaps, is how uncomfortable you were before this choice. And that it is your past that leads to your present. Nothing has been thrust upon you. We assure you that you are exactly where you need to be for your highest purpose, highest timeline, highest direction. And that there is not a hair out of place. We'll talk about the word casino, which, as you know, is the building or location that one goes to entertain themselves, to divert their attention, to play with money, and chance. Your vessel knows the word casino to also mean its meaning in Italian, which is a mess, chaos, and a predicament. And we believe this use of this word is apt, for you are currently in this type of casino, this predicament, this chaos, and simultaneously at the playing table with your bets down, waiting for the roulette wheel to stop to see if you have won or if you have lost. This analogy can be used to describe this particular moment in time where your beliefs are creating reality at a never before seen in your lifetime speed, and simultaneously, reality is not only being created from your particular perspective. It is as if there is a shift in the way that reality is created because there were enough people or enough beings to believe that this shift was possible. As the shift was possible, it became reality. And this system sounds complex, but what you need to know about it is only that you have the opportunity at this time to use your attention and your consciousness in a very constructive manner by choosing your only outcome of the events. The outcome that you would see. We have complete faith that there's no need for complete faith. And we know you to have the wisdom and maturity to choose your adventure in the way that suits you. We know you to have the strength to understand that fear or fear-based thoughts do not serve you ultimately. But we would also like you to know that we understand the attraction of them. We understand the lure and the glitter that having that reality be your reality creates for you. It is not a coincidence that you as a species or you as a peoples are so attracted to horror films or terror. For there is a chemical reaction in your makeup that makes fear very pleasurable for you. And we do not judge you for choosing that. Tonight we will answer questions, or we will ask counter questions to questions, as is sometimes our habit. Without scope
This is my first time. Hi, Jessica. This is my first time listening in to something like this. I wasn't quite sure what exactly I was listening to be honest, and who this message was coming from.
Perhaps it is time to make more introductions. So thank you. We can be described as a group of beings beyond physical materialization, with shared consciousness, that communicate with you at this time because of a request brought through you, through this group, through a group, for communication of this nature. Our intention is to assist with transition from separation consciousness, which is what your planet is experiencing at this time, to unity consciousness. There are many ways to describe this transition. People talk of densities or dimensions. We will say it is a question of perspective of what is unified or separate. By aiding you in finding your own road towards a balance between love and wisdom. Some of our counsel is useful to navigate one's personal life. Some of our counsel is useful to navigate one's beliefs systems or one's thoughts. And that is why we meet with you in this way. We are known as Vagrein. This is a name as any other name associated only with the ability to differentiate, and therefore is not truly a name with which we would associate ourselves. But because you are in a situation where names are necessary for you to understand differentiation, which is a part of separation, and therefore not applicable to us, we have conceded the possibility of being called by this name for convenience sake. The being that you know as Jessica has allowed us to speak through her as a vessel. This is because she has a particular configuration in her genetic makeup that allows this to be possible, and has had experiences in her lifetime that have led to the point in which it was possible for this to occur. And we believe we have addressed your query.
The little girl being that Jessica Drew channeled from you guys, what was that a representation of, or who was that? What was the message in that image?
Are you referring to the mandala?
Yes.
Yes. As with any artistic representation, the message is always determined by the viewer, and each viewer will have a different interpretation of a message. There were symbols and codes within that image, as there are within all artistic images, for the majority of art is channeled. We would think that you would have to meditate upon it, and that there is no correct answer to this question. And simply that if it was something that spoke to you or that had you considering in contemplation what the message may be, to spend more time with that image. For not every image will have you ask this form of question. If it had any form of significance for you, then it is for you to contemplate further. The image came through from us, and we believe that the intention of the transmission is felt by those who need to feel it. We know that you could feel the love in it and the connection.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like some clarity around if we are dreaming in this next, dreaming in the outcome, do we need to get clear on what the outcome is for us and to get together to dream together this? Or is the outcome already done and we just get to be in our joy moment to moment and generally focus on love and peace and be that love and peace? Something around that. Do we need to be clearer about what we want in our dreaming?
We see that there is still much cloudiness in the collective about which outcome or what outcome the majority wants. But as per your question, the only clarity that is needed is a personal one. You have heard these stories of splitting timelines.
Yes.
We will point to the fact that this is not exclusive to an ascension moment, but the splitting of timelines is occurring in every now. And the only way to ensure that one is on the timeline of their highest desire is to remain in their highest desire. If one's timeline is the desire for all to understand love, peace, harmony, unity, compassion, forgiveness, joy, bliss, satisfaction, creativity, progress, and focuses exclusively on those energies, not even the constructed reality of those energies, but the energies themselves on a moment-to-moment basis, which is far more inclusive than one would think, because it does include the moment you are on the toilet. It does include the moment that you are talking with that person that irritates you ever so slightly. But if the focus is towards that, then every next moment, which is the future, includes that energy. This is how the future is created. This is how the timeline that one wants is created. Because when you are pulling the energy in this now moment into the next one, you are creating the future. If that is a chain reaction that continues perpetually, your future cannot help but hold that energy. So your diligence and work at this time is not to make sure that someone else holds that energy, because in the energy of making sure you are losing that energy, in the energy of looking towards whether or not someone else is doing as required, is a losing of that momentum. But it is a focusing on being exactly what you want to see tomorrow. And this is still a task for the majority of you. This is still a very satisfying and consuming pastime. It is not that you have all succeeded in being the energy that you want to see in the future yet. In fact, this catalyst is here precisely to show you where it is you can up your game, how it is you can surrender a little more, how it is you can accept a little more, how it is you can forgive a little more, or release a little more, or focus on your priorities a little more, or get rid of what is not needed a little more. This catalyst is serving you. So we felt the energy of your question. We know that you have access to exactly what it is you want to see in the future, and we felt it come out of you as you asked the question, the second part of your question, which referred to simply knowing that it is already done, knowing that that energy is already with you, that simply because you want it, it's yours. And all of the distractions, all of the information and occurrences that have been coming at you and will continue to come at you are all simply the universe asking you, are you sure you want to be love? Are you sure you want to be unity? Are you sure it's time? And you can say no. But we don't think that you will.
Yes, thank you. It's amazing. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
So the question, Vagrein, from Barwin is, my question in regards to the information the entity known as Ra has provided. They talked about the harvest time where entities have the chance to graduate from third to fourth. Is the current state of affairs that includes the virus situation, is this part of the harvest? The next part is, any practices you would suggest for the service to others oriented entity?
We mentioned earlier the splitting of timelines. This can be equated to the harvest as you have described in the material by the entity known as Ra. The harvest, or the splitting of timelines, is not what you would think it is. For it lies outside of time. Therefore, cannot be a specific moment in time, and instead is perpetual. We believe that it was explained in the way that it was because it would have been misinterpreted had it been explained otherwise. And the information is relevant and was important to transmit in that way to that group at that time, and to whomever it would then serve afterwards. You may, if you so choose, perceive of this time and this catalyst in your experience as the harvest, or as a splitting of timelines. And if this information would serve you to make choices that you would otherwise not make in service to others, then it would be to your benefit if you were then to believe that being harvested as a service to others entity would somehow benefit you in the future of ascending to a reality where things are better than they are in this one. We, however, have an overview of no reality being better than the one that you are in, even if your future, from your perspective, will be more pleasant or comfortable for you than it is perhaps in this moment. The advice we could give to a service to others being is to be service to others. It is not complicated. It requires you seeing no other as different from yourself. It requires you accepting and understanding that every other being, including a tree and a shoe, are simply aspects of yourself. You will then treat them as they require being treated. The only complicated aspect is to eliminate all the conditioning that you've had to be service to self, which in most cases is lifelong, if not many lives long. To eliminate this conditioning, one may simply stop believing that they are separate from anything. It is a radical step. It is almost abstract. And it does require that you live your life in a relatively abstract way. For if everything is you, you must accept everything. This is the ultimate act of service to others. On a more human, perhaps, level, one can lean upon their perception of what is moral and good and act upon the actions that they believe to be moral and good. One can raise one's vibration. One can practice compassion for others. But the real work is internal on a service to others path.
Okay. My experience has been one where I've been much more silent within, quiet, pausing. And then I get the idea that maybe, I know you're going to say there's no should. I think, oh, this feels good, but maybe I need to be generating or expressing in a way that serves others, in like a physical way. And I think you're going to say that I am serving when I'm feeling good or enjoying myself. But can you speak to yeah, basically giving myself permission to just be for long periods of time during this, being silent and knowing that that is of service rather than like writing or publicly sharing. Does that make sense?
You have permission.
Thank you.
Silence is what is before words, no matter how eloquently strung together, are corruption. They are manipulation. even the ones that you speak to yourself. It is unfortunate that the majority of you do not believe you can tap into your telepathy yet, because words very quickly fall away when telepathy is being practiced. It's no longer necessary to use words to transmit ideas, and this is why many of your tests on the ability of telepathic communication fail, because one transmits words to the other that are then supposedly supposed to be recounted, and the two of them get together and they say, oh, well, what did you say? And the other one says, oh, you said this. And then they say, no, I didn't say that. Well, no, of course you didn't. You sent your energy, your emotion, and in some form, the thought package. This can only be accomplished in silence. It can only be received in silence. If your instinct at this time is silence, we suggest that you do not go against this instinct, for it is your mind telling you that you need to share, and your mind is 100% conditioned by your past. You are not in your past, you are in your present. If the instinct is to be silent, your present is silence. Not only do you have permission, you yourself have given you this obligation by giving yourself this instinct. Your instincts are your inner being telling you what is best for you and everyone around you, and your mind will often go against that. The mind can only be based on the past. This is why we do not mind the moments of silence. We do not mind them at all, for we know that this transmission, every time we meet, and you have the conscious decision to spend your moment of your life in this format, we are able to share with you all that it is we have come to share. The rest is entertainment.
Hi there, everyone. My question just relates to a bit of the work I do. It's more of an interest, really, related around working with children as opposed to working with adults. I find that the effects it has on me afterwards is quite profound, and I can work on less children in a day than I can work on adults because of that effect. And I question, is it in relationship to the energy they allow through themselves, or the energy they are connected to because they haven't got their consciousness in the way? Can you just talk to me about that? What am I experiencing there?
Yes. Beneath a certain age of child in your practice, they are actually a different species. This is part of why you are more drained. It is a more advanced physical being than the one that you were born into. There is an evolution occurring in your DNA, in your genetic matrix at this time. Many factors are contributing to this, but many of the children that you treat are already the grandparents of the future human. They will have a different makeup than the adults at this meeting, or the majority of the adults at this meeting. They are also far less conditioned, as you said. They are also far less presumptuous and arrogant in their positioning. And therefore, yes, can allow much more energy through their beings and can take advantage of what you are offering at a much deeper level and far faster than an adult can. Children are already fully formed beings. They are not adults waiting to happen. We believe you know this. And this, coupled with the information we have given you, explains why you are more fatigued and why it is appropriate for you to have less sessions in a day with these beings.
Is there a practice I can be aware of that helps me to balance that? Or is it simply they are upgraded more than I can be?
You have a position where the energy coming off of the children is stronger than your own energy. We are talking simply about the radiation of the energy, the frequency of the waves that come off of their energy field. We believe you have seen this in these children as well. And as you work with them, what happens is the waves of their energy beat against yours, and as opposed to an adult who has a similar frequency, these waves arrive at your, let's say, auric field, if you will choose that term. We believe that it makes sense if we use that term. And they vibrate slightly out of accord with your own energy field. There is not much you can do to change your energy field to match theirs. It is not a question of trying harder or meditating more, for we explained it is a different form of being. However, you can practice your own energetic cleansing after sessions with these beings, and will be able to reformulate your own energy centers without the interference. With some skill, however, we do not believe this is the case, one can also use or integrate the energy from these beings. However, them being children and you being a practitioner, we would not suggest that. If they were your own children, you could, or your own as a term, but children with which you have a soul contract, then you could work with them over a long period of time to understand the frequencies of their auric fields and find a rhythmic synchronicity within your own. It will never be that you will have the genetic makeup of these beings. However, you will have a taste of what it will be in the future to be a human on this planet. We don't normally talk about these terms of subject matter, but we feel that given the changes occurring all around you, it is no longer the case to be as conservative with our sharing as we had in the past. Is this helpful for your practice?
Very helpful. Just a further question. Are my children, is that what you're talking about, is to work with that? Or are they a bit older than what I'm working with now?
We would say that the age range for the newer genetic profiles to be within your population on a more frequent level. Of course, there were exceptions earlier, but on a more frequent level would be the age of 15 and under, and more commonly 8 and under.
Yes, thank you. It answers it greatly.
Thank you.
If there are time, there are some further questions.
Yes.
Manuela, you can ask your question now. Would entities like yourself or from the higher densities consider to come forth to Earth and indulge in our politics, business, and daily life?
If one means physically, then from our particular perspective, that would not be desirable. We have had enough experience with the physical form to have decided that its limitations are no longer a profitable teaching tool for us. We do have the ability to adopt physical form. We do have the ability to communicate through a physical form. However, we find your politics and business and all of that jazz to be absolutely ridiculous, but in the most loving way. And while it is entertaining to watch as you play your games, it is not fundamentally that interesting from a broader perspective. We see all the connections of all the dots, all the potential timelines, all the past timelines. And what is fascinating to you as you watch it unfold is simply the equivalent of the wrinkles on your hand for us. We do not know how much time you spend studying the wrinkles of your own hand, but we imagine it is not very much of your time. There are other entities that love playing your games, but the moment that they are materialized on your plane of existence, they are part of the game. They are you. And yes, we are also you, and you are also us. But do not feel the need to get tangled up in the gamble in the casino. If there is one more question already to be asked, or even two that have already been signaled, we will take them.
I feel recently I have been in, I'd call it more direct communication with, I guess it's my higher self. And I'm just curious. I'm curious what it is I am in communication with. Half of me says it doesn't matter, and the other half is curious. And I know that it's ultimately just one. Mm, but my question is, um, does it matter to know who it is that, or what it is that I'm in contact with when I am having great oversight and deep clarity like I have recently?
You started this question telling us it was your higher self. We would now answer the second part of does it matter? That is a question that you may ask yourself. We are sure that this new oversight will tell you if it matters or not. And only to give you an example that will clarify things for you very swiftly, we will tell you that you are in communication with a jelly bean. The laughing allows us to know that you have understood the joke. For it would be exactly the same. What if it was a jelly bean? What if you found out that instead of talking with God or your higher self or an alien from another planet, you were talking with the consciousness of a cherry jelly bean at the bottom of a bag of jelly beans? You would have to then discern whether or not the information was still, regardless of its source, useful to you on a day-to-day basis. You would then have to discern whether or not you would allow your mind to disregard the consciousness of a jelly bean. And you would have clarity as to whether or not you were more focused on the source of the information or the information itself. It is our counsel that when one receives any information from any source at all, and this goes, we are talking in this tone because we are feeling very serious. Any information from any source, that one discerns whether or not that information is valid to them, regardless of where they have heard it from. This is a skill that you as a people could do well to integrate immediately. For the information being thrown at you from a million sources right now is not all in service to you. A jelly bean can be a scientist. It can be a newscaster. It can be a politician, a friend. It can be a non-physical entity, an angel, your own higher self. What is important is not who is this jelly bean, but what are they saying and how does it make me feel? And remember, in a parallel reality, there are jelly beans which are regarded in the highest order and are the wisdom keepers of all. We are glad that you are all doing well at this time. We sense that much of an integration has happened for you in these past weeks, that there is very little turbulence in this group. We are pleased to know that. We are happy to meet with you again, should you wish. And for now, bid you farewell in the light of all the galaxies. and of your own heart. A nine. Hi. So anyone going out tonight or? Wow, so that was a blast from the past, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you can see the difference between the way channeling is going for me now and the way it used to go, and would love to hear if you have any comments about that as well. The energy that comes through from Vagrein is consistent. It has been consistent all along for as long as I've been channeling. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to bring you more of the archive stuff that's kind of just sitting around on my computer, and obviously new channeling on a regular basis. I hope to see you at the live event, and talk to you again soon. Okay, bye.